The New York Knicks have a massive problem on their hands that has just been absolutely exposed by the Detroit Pistons, and Tom Thibodeau needs to make an adjustment. But this is on more than just Tom Thibodeau and Karl-Anthony Towns, as a bunch of Knicks players are involved. And on top of this, there is an easy solution that is not being used and would easily make the Knicks win the next 3 playoff games without much of a struggle. But it's not happening as of right now, and Tom Thibodeau needs to make an adjustment, because in sports, as mentioned in Moneyball, it's adapt or die. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into things as always. And if you guys are part of that 62% that's not subscribed to the channel, you're not adapting. Because adapt and subscribe to Knicks Digest, where you get all the best New York Knicks content. But let's jump into the video. We have a lot to talk about. The New York Knicks' biggest issue just got confirmed. And, I mean, they've been exposed completely with this one problem. And that is the fact that despite the fact that Karl-Anthony Towns should be able to dominate Tobias Harris in the post, which he has shown he has the ability to do, the Detroit Pistons continue to run it. And Karl-Anthony Towns is not exactly having the world's greatest playoff series in his life, despite the fact that he's being guarded by Tobias Harris, and absolutely should be having the best playoff series of his NBA career. It's really bad. The fact is, Karl-Anthony Towns, thus far in the playoffs in these 2 games, is averaging 16.5 points per game with 8 rebounds and 2.5 assists. I mean, shooting 60% from the field is excellent, and only 20% from 3 is not good. But overall, he should be doing so much better, and there is a clear reason why. And former New York Knicks beat writer turned athletic insider Fred Katz, shout out Fred Katz, been a while since I've said that name on this channel, but Fred Katz broke a lot of this down. Now, diving into things, Katz mentioned that this has been going on for a while, this big issue, that back early in the season, Cody Martin, a 6'6" wing on the Charlotte Hornets, defended Towns more than any other member of the Charlotte Hornets did, and opponents had placed perimeter defenders on the 5-time All-Star. Coaches have hurled at Towns for years. The Knicks, their center, changed his style. Karl-Anthony Towns, that is, obviously. Placing a smaller defender on Towns is a bet that the 7-footer will change his style. The Towns might get physical for a stretch or a quarter or a half, but that does not mean he wants to keep that energy up for 48 minutes. And on top of that, on that night against the Hornets, Towns did not set many ball screens against them, in part because a big man could guard Josh Hart, who isn't a threat from behind the 3-point arc, and roam into the lane and create a just complete cluster that's not good for the offense. A trend emerged, and later in the month, the Knicks played a couple of consecutive games against the hapless Washington Wizards. The main assignment on Towns for both of them was Justin Champagnie. The result? Towns set fewer ball screens. Now, this is an issue because Karl-Anthony Towns is a big man. He should be setting a lot of ball screens for the New York Knicks because it's going to work. Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns should be the best pick-and-roll duo in the NBA, and at times they've shown that they can be. The fact is, when you stick a big man on Josh Hart, that big man slides in, and it prevents the pick-and-roll from working, or they kick it out to Josh Hart. What happens then? Josh Hart might miss a 3, or he won't take the 3, which is what we've seen this season. The fact is, Josh Hart not shooting 3s has been absolutely punching this team in the mouth for a while now. The Knicks wanted a 5-out team to rival the Boston Celtics, but Josh Hart refuses to shoot 3s right now, and that's caused issues for Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, causing a disconnect between the two that is just not going to work long-term for this Knicks team. They're going to have to figure something out, because this is not a working strategy right now for the New York Knicks. What's going on? Their offense looks just like it's sputtering, despite the fact that it should be one of the best in basketball. And there are fixes to this problem, but right now, there's just issues with this going on, and the Knicks need to do something about it. If they continue to run these units like this, bad things are going to happen for this team, and Fred Katz highlights this, mentioning that as teams manned Towns with wings more, Towns' habits changed. He didn't dominate the post enough. The Knicks' bread and butter has been the Jalen Brunson Towns pick and roll. The team strayed away from it, and thus strayed away from Karl-Anthony Towns. The Knicks were 35-12 in games where big men guarded Towns, and 11-14 in games where perimeter players were his primary defender. Towns set 27 ball screens in a game where bigs were primarily on him, according to Second Spectrum. However, when he's being guarded by a wing or a forward, it's only 15.9. So there's a drop in screens being set because for some reason, essentially, the Knicks continue to use Josh Hart in this lineup where he's being guarded by big men, and it's killing the team. Now, Towns is definitely, his numbers are definitely down from the regular season where he put up 24.5 points per game, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting 42% from 3 and 52% from the field. Towns had an excellent season, but now with the way things are going, he's not getting the same amount of touches, and he's getting doubled more often the more times the Knicks continue to have Josh Hart being guarded by big men because he won't shoot the ball. As Tom Thibodeau said, he's getting touches. He's making the right play. If he's getting double teamed, I don't want him to shoot the ball over 3 people. That makes no sense to me. Well, then change the lineup. Do something that's not going to let that happen. Do something where you're not going to have Karl-Anthony Towns get double teamed. And because of what's happening, Brunson's not even passing to Towns. He has 12 passes to Cat in the playoff series. Meanwhile, he has 32 to Josh Hart because he's being left open and 38 to Mikal Bridges. So where things are at right now, it's just an unideal way for this offense to run. Brunson is the focal point of the offense, obviously. He's the best player on the Knicks. He's the captain. He has to work as the point guard to get his all-NBA center involved. Towns was an all-star starter this season. He looked like an early MVP candidate, and then teams start putting wings on him, and instead of the Knicks saying, oh, well, maybe we could change the lineup so we continue to have a 5 out and so Cat can get complete mismatches. No, they didn't do that. It was the one problem that the Minnesota Timberwolves had with Cat and Rudy Gobert is centers could just ignore Rudy, sort of. Not as much because Rudy's 7'2", so he's going to grab a million offensive rebounds if you just double Cat and he finds a way to kick it out, and then there's a shot and Rudy has positioning. Something the Knicks could try using Mitchell Robinson, but have been yet to. Or the Knicks could go a completely different direction and play Deuce McBride there. Sub out Josh Hart, take Josh Hart off the bench, have Deuce start, or have Deuce come into the game early so you can use this 5 out, so you can create mismatches. Big men can't guard OG, Mikal, Deuce, Brunson. Well, not going to guard Brunson, but the other 3, they can't stick a big man on him because they'll just keep shooting open 3s, and they're going to hit him. Yes, Mikal missed that open 3 that would have given them the lead. Is that really frustrating considering what happened last year when Dante DiVincenzo hit it? Absolutely. It's really annoying. However, people miss open 3s all the time. The reason that DiVincenzo hit that was because Isaiah Hartenstein got that offensive rebound. Remember, Devo missed the first one. He made the second one. So look, before we all go jumping on Mikal for missing that shot, let's also be very aware that the New York Knicks are not running the 5 out that they wanted to. And if they just started Deuce, it would solve the problem. But Tom Thibodeau has been yet to show leniency to do that with the New York Knicks, and it's caused issues. And now they're down, not down in the series, but they just lost home court advantage, which is absolutely infuriating. I mean, looking at what Kat said, Towns attempted his last shot against the Pistons in Game 2 with 5 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the third quarter. Contrary to Thibodeau's statement, he played the entire fourth and touched the ball in the front court only 3 times during the final period. Brunson had 15 front court touches in the final period. The Dallas Mavericks succeeded in tossing smaller guys at the Towns throughout last season's Western Conference Finals. Los Angeles Clippers disrupted him with perimeter players during the 2022 play-in tournament. So this has worked in the past, and the Pistons clearly did their homework and got this understood and figured out what to do here. The problem is there's such an easy fix that they won't use. And Fred Katz mentions this, and Deuce mentions it. If Thibodeau were to replace Hart with Miles Deuce McBride, even if the adjustment were just making McBride for Hart the first substitution of the game, the choice to guard Towns with a wing wouldn't be as intuitive. The starters minus Hart plus McBride barely played this season, only 160 possessions according to Cleaning the Glass, but annihilated opponents when they did, besting them by 43.7 points per 100 possessions. It was the top lineup in the NBA among those many units who played as many possessions as they did. But Tom Thibodeau has shown a weird feeling of, no, I don't want to run that because I like Josh Hart. Like, what is happening, man? It's such an obvious fix. You put Deuce in, you get the 5 out you wanted. It does not make any sense to me. Now, look, as we know, he's not passing to Towns, but also Brunson, that is. On top of that, Tommy Beer mentions that, in contrast, over a 25-game stretch from the end of October to Christmas, Brunson passed to Towns an average of 13.5 points times per game. Towns dished to Brunson 15 times per game. The Towns tortured teams with that pick and roll and that pick and pop jumpers when they would give Karl-Anthony Towns airspace if they dropped off, even at all. And Towns, for some reason, is showing less of a openness to shoot threes if he's getting a little bit of coverage, which is new for Karl-Anthony Towns. During that referenced 25-game span, Towns averaged 4.6 catch-and-shoot field goals attempted per game. Over the first 2 games, Towns has made 1 catch-and-shoot jump shot. He's not getting these attempts, and it's because Tobias Harris is staying on him. But Tobias Harris isn't a very good defender. If you let Towns post him up and you have Deuce out there instead of Josh Hart, double teams aren't coming. And guess what? If it's a smaller guy double-teaming Towns, he's a big fella. Be big, shoot over the shorter guys. You can do that. or you kick it out and you work for an open three. There's ways around this the New York Knicks refuse to use right now, and it's why they're struggling. It's really just that more than anything else, if you ask me. When you look at these 8 Knicks, the top 8 3-point shooters on the Knicks, look at the top lineups. Karl-Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Deuce McBride are all in there. Now, Landry Shamet's not really playing a ton. Fair. So throw Mikal in there. Have that 35%. Open in the corner. Mikal's hitting at 42%. So you get Mikal on a corner 3, it's going to work. You have Mikal in that corner. You have OG in the other corner. You got insanely hot corners. You got Deuce on the wing. Or you could put Deuce in the corner and Mikal on the wing if you feel like it, because Mikal's a better shot creator than Deuce. Either way, Deuce is also a 40-plus shooter from the corner. The Knicks have elite corner 3-point shooting. You could have Mikal be the secondary creator, and you just run a pick and roll with Brunson and Towns until Jalen Duren's head spins, because Jalen Duren's not very good of a defender to begin with. So if the Knicks just do that, guess what's going to happen? They're probably going to start winning more games, and they're probably going to be able to get out of this series in 5 games. It's a matter of if Tom Thibodeau is going to make adjustments or not, and that has been basically what we've wondered about every single playoff series. Well, is Tibbs going to adjust? Because if he does, things work out. And he's made adjustments in the past, and it's worked, and the Knicks have won playoff series. Made the adjustment to have DiVincenzo guard Tyrese Maxey, and it worked a lot better than OG guarding him, because the worst that OG is on defense is when he's guarding a small, quick guard. So he put Devo on him, and it worked. Adapt or die. Tibbs has to adapt, or he's getting fired. It's that simple. And he won't get another head coaching job, believe me. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day. Let's enjoy this one more off day, and then we'll be back to action tomorrow. Go Knicks.